Good morning. My name is Reverend Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I'm so grateful that you are here today. Thank you for coming out to my living room, basically. I live out here over the summer, but this is my yard. Thank you for being here. And thank you for bearing with us, the people who are watching online. We had another technical issue last week. We think we have it solved. We think it was a faulty cord. We are not exactly sure, but my favorite description of it this week was that all of a sudden it sounded like I started talking in tongues, and that everyone was freaking out because I all of a sudden decided that I belonged to a different. Yeah, I was all of a sudden Pentecostal there for a moment for the people online. So, thanks for bearing with us. I think we got it. So, and honestly, I didn't know where to start this week. I realized that I never in my entire life thought I would have to have an opinion about demon sex. But this week, here we go. So things are quite strange. And we're just trying to figure out how to care for one another. And so I'm just so grateful for everyone who's watching, who's touched by this community, everyone here in this space, because it is so important that we figure out how to do this life thing right now, because it's not easy. And so I said it a few weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. If you are making any single little part of your life work, any of it, right now, I am so proud of you. It's really hard. So just, the smallest things, right? And we have to be willing to celebrate that and celebrate each other in that, because honestly, everyone is going crazy right now. We are all out of our minds, and we just got to admit it and then figure out how it is that we're going to move forward from this. And so just so grateful to be here with you today, and to be able to have this opportunity to see your eyes, even if I can't see your smiles. So thank you for being here. And we're going to start with some prayer, because that's what's gotten me through this week. So we're just going to breathe in to this moment. This moment, this precious, precious moment that never existed before and will never exist again. And as we allow ourselves to be present to what it feels like to be alive right here and now, I just recognize the power and the presence of the One. Moving in and through and around us, moving through all that is calling for healing as well as the healing itself. And so as we allow ourselves to just be present and open and available, I just know that Spirit is present here with us, guiding and directing and loving us. And I just trust in this. And so we breathe deep enough to create some space. And we let it be. And so it is.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gonna die the clouds, they have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
The poem I've chosen today is a poem called From Blossoms by Lee Young Lee. From blossoms comes this brown paper bag of peaches we brought from a boy at the bend of the road where we turned toward signs painted peaches. From laden boughs, from hands, from sweet fellowship in the bins comes nectar at the roadside, succulent peaches we devour, dusty skin and all. Comes the familiar dust of summer, dust we eat. Oh, to take what we love inside, to carry within us an orchard, to eat not only the skin but the shell, not only the sugar but the days, to hold the fruit in our hand, adore it, and then bite into the round jubilance of peach. There are days we live as if death were nowhere in the background. From joy to joy to joy, from wing to wing, from blossom to impossible blossom, to sweet, impossible blossom. And so we just take this poem and we allow it to move in us as the meditation moves.
That was a piece called Swingless by Daniel Ward, arranged by John Bartlett. And now we're going to do a tune called Stolen Moments.
Thank God for music, I tell you. Thank you guys. So I've been actually doing fairly well during this whole time. I've been saying things like, all things considered, things are okay until this week. And I don't know if anyone else felt it, but it felt a little bit like just the sheer amount of bullshit became just so overwhelming that I was starting to lose perspective. And I really try to make sure that I'm staying principled and in spirit and knowing that healing is happening. And I was overwhelmed this week. And I'm admitting that because I don't think I'm the only one. And it was a bit of a journey that I'm still on to get back to a place where I could see that there was healing happening, where that not only was there so much to heal, but that there was actually healing happening. And so I had a shift this week while I was praying, and I heard myself say that yes, Kylie, there's just so much that needs to be healed. Like, just, it's okay to acknowledge that. Like, do that. But also you have to acknowledge our tremendous capacity to heal. Like, not only is there so much that needs transformation, but we are actually so capable as these divine beings shot here through all of eternity to actually transform, to actually heal, to actually do that. We have that in us, that power. And so as I have been making this journey back to this, hopefully some sort of place where I'm not completely out of balance and overwhelmed by just the sheer lunacy. I don't know how many times I said this week, for fuck's sake, another thing? I mean, come on. Like, you have to be kidding me. And this like sense of how do we then make sure that we're creating a space where the healing can actually happen so that we don't stand in the way of that through our own overwhelm. So I'm interested in this sense in which we get to open to all that gets to be healed through this awareness, as well as our capacity, like just the tremendous capacity we have, this amazing ability. If you think about all of the things you've been through in your life, that you're still standing, that you're still here, is one testament to to the healing power, like that you're still here is a testament to your capacity to heal on every level. And so this is this sense in me that we need to encompass more of that, like to actually embrace our capacity to do that. And so I was actually spent a lot of time out here. As I shared earlier, in the summertime, especially in the evenings when it cools off, it's really quite beautiful to sit here and watch the sky and watch people pass by. And it's honestly something I've had to commit to, because when I sit out here and watch the world go by, I start to remember that it's bigger than what's going on in the news and all of those things. And I watch people and kids on their bikes and dogs and people, and it's really healing. But I also look up at these trees and I look up at them and go, oh, there's another project, because there are a bunch of dead things in these trees that need to get cut out. You probably don't notice, but they're my trees. And so I'm looking up there going, okay, so it's not up on that list yet, but I'm gonna have to go either rent a tool or buy the tool, and then I need to do this. And I, every time I sit out here, I look at it and I go, I'm getting it higher up the list because it's bothering me. And so I was sitting out here though this week while I was in all of my angst about the needing to be, trimmed and the dead things removed from them. And I had a visit from a hawk. So there's these great hawks that live in the trees across the street, actually. Their nests are over there. And there are two of them landed in the tree right above you, Dottie, and they started dancing around. Yeah, bird poop. watch out. But they started dancing around, and I couldn't figure out what they were doing. And then all of a sudden, I start hearing these breaking sounds. And the hawks were removing the dead branches from the tree in order to build their nests. And so I don't know what it is about this time of year, because I know that I watched them build their nests earlier in the spring and then make them bigger when their babies got too big to be in them. So I think right now that the baby hawks and the younger hawks are learning how to build their own nests. And so they were up in these trees, and they took away so many branches that I had one of those moments where I said, you know what I think is supposed to be happening? And what actually needs to happen may not be the same thing. Can I open my heart and my mind and my experience to be big enough for a healing that includes the fact that the hawks really love the dead branches in these trees? They make great nests. And can I open to the fact that that kind of healing is actually being called for right now, that kind of movement of spirit that says, okay, so it's not looking like how I think it's supposed to look. But that does not mean that healing is not happening. It does not mean that spirit is not moving. It does not mean that spirit is absent. It does not mean that whatever we are being called to and all of that healing that needs to happen, it doesn't mean that that's not what is actually here. And so it seemed so silly at the time, but for me it was one of those moments where I moved from that place of judgment in my head into a realization that the healing that I was seeking and calling for was actually in process and in motion. And that nature itself and life around us, in fact, the very physical body that we carry around knows how to do this. Like, they knows how to heal, knows how to transform, knows how to take care of itself. So there's this great statement about judgment that says, judgment has to do with imposing form on something that may still be in motion, labeling it, fixing it in some aspect, and thus controlling it before it has a chance to grow into its wholeness. And so I notice that my judgment often clouds this idea of healing because I have an idea of what that healing is supposed to look like. I know exactly what I think the steps should be, or at least I know what does not fit in that. And there's this sense, though, if we're willing to open to it, that we don't have to fix it. We don't have to fix healing in some particular way, that in fact is not what we're called to, but we're called to acknowledge our deep care and to make sure that we're participating and loving the world and being present to it in a way that allows for our whole hearts to show up. So there's this beautiful sermon illustration that was shared with me years ago that I was reminded of this week. And it comes from a pastor at a Catholic church in Virginia. And he talked about being a college student, and he went home for the weekend during college, and he stopped by to visit his grandparents. And so they had lived in the same place for many, many years through all his growing up. And his grandfather had, over the time he had been in college, had a series of strokes that had left him paralyzed on one side, and he was really having a hard time talking and swallowing. And so his grandmother determined to take care of him, even though he required a feeding tube, and even though it was very difficult. And so on the day that this pastor, who was a student at the time, came through the front door, he immediately saw that he had interrupted things and that it was not right. And there was a goopy liquid food spattered all over his grandfather, and his grandfather's face was completely red. And his grandmother was struggling to care for him when she realized that all of this was going on. Like, her grandson had just entered the house. And this college student was embarrassed. He thought, I'm just going to leave. I'm assuming you don't want me here during this situation. And this is what his grandmother said in her stern voice: "Don't you dare. Don't you dare leave. Sometimes this is what love looks like." sometimes this is what love looks like. The healing, messy, goopy, yucky, painful bullshit. This is what love looks like, and it's not our job right now to leave. Our job is to stay as present as we possibly can. And so, in the middle of my overwhelm of feeling like there's just so much that needs to be healed, how are we possibly going to do this? There's also that part of me that wants to pull the escape hatch, right? And say, I'm just out. Like, I can't do this. It's too overwhelming. I'm going to go. This is embarrassing, right? Like, it really is embarrassing, by the way. I'm embarrassed right now by the way humans, and especially in our country, but I guess everywhere, are behaving themselves right now. But there's this sense of like, I want it to stop. I can't manage how painful this is. It's just too much. And so that voice that says, don't you dare try and shut this down. Don't you try to go back to sleep. Don't you try to make it just all float away into some place and make it someone else's job to heal or to transform. Don't you dare. This is yours. And so I kept hearing that as I was in this process of making sure I was creating space for this. It's like, don't you dare shut down. Don't you dare go to some easy answer, some simplistic idea. Don't you dare just go to your place of righteous indignation, which I have very strong tendencies towards. Don't you just go there. Actually go there and then move into action because of it. Because that's what happens, right? Like, our care moves to action. That is, in fact, what healing looks like, is that our great care shows us the way into moving past our ideas and our judgment into a kind of inspired action that has so much more power behind it. But we have to start realizing that we're really needing to heal instead of just fix, okay? And so I talked a little bit about this last week with the idea that we need to look beneath the surface to the causes of things and make sure we're getting deep enough, because otherwise we're just fixing. And there's a lot of fixing that needs to happen, but that fixing is only powerful if it also is accompanied by a healing behind it. Because what fixing does is it deals with the symptoms, and it doesn't deal with the things that are behind it, that are actually asking for us to pay attention to them. So we have to acknowledge, though, that there is a tendency to just want to get to the quick fix and make things go back to normal. And while that tendency is present and part of being human, it also will not get us far enough. We have to be willing to actually participate in a healing that is so much deeper. And we have the capacity to do it. We have the capacity, we have the power, we have the wisdom. But it also requires us to truly acknowledge that which needs to be healed. And so I feel like so often in my own healing process and that I get so close to that which actually needs to be healed in me. I get so close, I can see it. And then I have this tendency to pull away, right? To back off a bit. And I can see so clearly that it's there and I'm close to it, but the real healing is scary, right? Because things look different on the other side of it. Fixing doesn't really make things look different. Fixing doesn't require me to let go of things. Fixing doesn't require me to be different. Fixing just keeps on making me feel comfortable enough to continue on. But the healing, though, wow, that's scary stuff. Like, if we really committed to the kind of healing that wants to happen and what that means that the world would look like, it would look really different. It would look different for all of us, and that would be a good thing, but it also pulls us out of our sense of normalcy, which, I keep saying this over and over, that I actually think the fact that things don't feel normal is one of the most healing things right now, is the fact that things aren't normal, that we can't go back to normal, that we have to keep being present to that which needs to be healed over and over and over is this sense that there's that there's spiritual power there. Like, this is actually necessary, because when things feel normal, we forget to pray. Right? We forget that things need to be healed. We forget that Spirit is present. We forget because it's just comfortable, right? Things feel normal. We forget that which we've actually come here to do, which is to have this experience of holding each other in a different way. And so I was actually more inspired by the end of the week by our capacity to heal than the fact that there was so much overwhelm around what needed to heal. Like, there was a sense of, wow, we actually can do this. We actually can continue to do this work and to be called into it in a deeper way. So Sojourner Truth, someone who had a tremendously hard life, whose personal suffering was indeed really intense, had this perspective that I'm finding useful right now. And this is what she said: life is a hard battle anyway. So if we laugh and sing a little as we fight the good fight of freedom, it makes it all go easier. I will not allow my life's light to be determined by the darkness around me. I will not let my life's light be determined by the darkness around me. And so we, as people who care, people who are aware, people who are willing to acknowledge that there is so much that needs to be healed, also need to be able to make sure that we are not letting our light be determined by that which is going on around us, and that we need to be committed in a deeper way to making sure that our light is shining. So honestly, if you're watching, Michael, I was so appreciative of your response to my weekly email blast yesterday, because someone told me that just even receiving an email from me at that moment had brought them hope. And it brought tears to my eyes, because I wasn't thinking that I thought I was telling you about what I was going to talk about today and reminding you we were having service. I didn't know I was bringing someone hope in the moment when they needed it. And we need to keep our light shining, so because we don't know how that's all going to play out. We never know what we're really doing. We don't know what hawks need those sticks for their nests. We don't know. So Clarissa Pinkola Estes says it this way: ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing that one soul can do to help another soul to assist some portion of this poor, suffering world will help immensely. It is not given to us to know which acts or by whom will the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. What we need for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, adding, and adding more, continuing. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group of people who will not give up during the first or second or 100th gale. And so here we are, small, determined group, committed to making sure we're continually bringing the light wherever we can, continuing to remember our capacity to heal, continuing to be willing to face that which needs to be healed, and to move into a space where we acknowledge it and go fully into it, where we don't dare to turn away when it gets messy or doesn't look the way we think it should look, that we keep on moving in the direction that Spirit is leading us, which is deeper and deeper and deeper into our capacity to heal and to support each other in our healing. So I just know that in those moments of overwhelm, if you could hear something in your head that might be useful, that sense of, yes, yes, there is so much that needs to be healed, but we have so much power. We have such an amazing capacity to heal. And holding those two things, I believe, will help us maintain this place inside of ourselves that allows us to keep bringing the light for each other, bringing the light for our country, bringing the light for this whole thing called life. Just keep being on bringing the light, and bringing the light in such a way that we move past any sense of quick fix, and we actually start to heal what's underlying. Because one election isn't going to change things. We have to commit to a deeper kind of healing. So I'm going to ask the band to come on up as we anchor in prayer. So I'm just going to ask you, we're going to sing into our prayer, but I'm going to ask you maybe to think about some area in your life where maybe you've been focused on something being broken instead of your capacity to heal it. Focused on or overwhelmed by the sheer immensity of the things that need to be healed and the suffering, and maybe moving that focus instead into this place that says, wow, yes, that's true. But what is also true is our capacity to heal and transcend and transform and to love. And so please sing with me.
Lifts us high, heals us, sustains us, and sets us. Our prayer of love lifts us high, heals us, sustains us, and sets us. Our prayer of love lifts us high, heals us, sustains us, and sets us.
So our prayer of love today is a prayer that acknowledges all that needs to be healed, and at the same time acknowledges our tremendous capacity to heal. And it is in the midst of all of this that is seeking to transform itself that I recognize that we find our peace and our power and our light shining in a new way. And I just know that this light that we have come here to shine, the light that sits at the center of who and what we are, is so ready to shine, is so ready to move into inspired action. It is so ready to be available to all of the healing that can happen. And I just know that truly we are available right now in a way that we as the collective have never been before, to a call to truly transform, to truly heal, to stop just putting band-aids on the surface of things and actually get deep enough that we transform the systems And I just know that Spirit knows what it is doing as us. And it is asking us not to dare take the shortcut, not to dare turn away, to actually move deeper, because we recognize that sometimes this is what love looks like. Sometimes this is what love shows up as. Everything that needs to fall away so that real healing can happen. And I just trust in this. I let Spirit guide. And I let it be. And so it is.
Our prayer of love lifts us high, heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high, heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us.
guys are great. So you'll probably, some of you know this story, but I embarrassed myself a few years ago and told these guys that my favorite song growing up was Top of the World by the Carpenters. Yeah. And so every single Sunday at some point, they figure out how to play it in something that they play. And when I was able before all of this to go, see them live playing places, no matter who they were playing with, somehow the Carpenters would show up. So, oh man, it makes me laugh, and I love these guys. So thank you for making me laugh. So thank you everyone for showing up today. Thank you for those of you who are watching online. I think our sound was good today. Yay. Yay, we needed one non-stressful day with technology doing what technology sometimes does. So we have baskets in the trees if you would like to make a contribution if you're physically here. We also have a link on our website, onespiritualcenter.org, where you can make a donation there. I just want to thank you for continuing to support this community and this amazing music and this whole thing we do together. I really appreciate the way that you continue to show your love in that way. So we're going to bless that which has been offered today. We're just going to hold the space of recognizing all the healing that is happening in ways that are different than maybe we would have expected. And our tremendous capacity to heal and to love one another and to remind each other. And so we just let go into that and I let it be. So I have a couple of announcements. One is that we will be back at Roadrunner Food Bank together on the 4th Saturday of August. It is August already, amazingly. Sometimes it's feeling like everything's going really slow, but everything's going fast at the same time. It's kind of funny how that's working. So 4th will be there. I also want to make an invitation because I know some people have expressed interest, and that is that today at 6 p.m. there is a Black Lives Matter protest down at Civic Plaza, and I will be there if my physical body will take me there today. We'll see. Pay attention to that, but please, if you're called to join this peaceful protest, we'd love to have your presence. I told you last week I'm involved with the whatever it's going to be called because it's changing, but a group of wall of moms or whatever we're going to call it, and showing up from the place of privilege to support protests. So that's tonight at 6 p.m. here at Civic Plaza, and maybe I'll see you there. Let's see. Then also, let's see. I believe that's all my announcements for right now. So let's sing.
Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready, there's a train coming. Don't give no baggage, just get on board. Now in the head of speed, hear that whistle humming. You don't need no tickets, you just thank the Lord. One love,
have one last blessing to sing to one another. And don't forget bagels.
Go forth and walk in beauty, and know that we